Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We start our video with a crazy customer who demanded our OP be fired because she was assaulted. I hope you guys have a nice Karen-free day. We'll continue after a short pause. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled Karen demands to talk to corporate to get me fired. Cast. OP is me, Karen, Allie, assistant manager. This happened yesterday. I work at a private coffee shop chain in the Midwest. I worked on the drive-thru taking payment and giving out drinks. Due to it being morning, we were quite busy, and I'd say over 100 customers in the hour this had happened. Once we slowed down, we started cleaning the bars and ensuring that we would be ready for another rush if and when it would hit. The phone rang, and Allie picked it up. I heard from her after and heard what she was saying, so this is to the best of my memory. Karen: I need to speak to the manager. Allie: That's me. What can I help you with? Karen: My drink was absolutely undrinkable. Allie: I'm so sorry. What was wrong with your drink? Karen: It was undrinkable. Allie: I understand. What made it undrinkable? Karen: I ordered a white mocha with half vanilla and less chocolate, and it was full chocolate and full vanilla. Allie: I'm very sorry about that, ma'am. We could... Karen: Oh, and that window girl was very rude. Allie, knowing I wasn't: I'm sorry about... Karen: She hit me with the card reader and laughed at me. I demand her name and the number to corporate now. Allie: Ma'am, I'm so sorry. She is too. Isn't that right, OP? I turn, not really knowing what's happening, and nod my head. Allie: Now I have to talk with OP. You can come back in and get a refund, and we'll remake your drink for you. Karen: Good. I want the girl fired. Allie: I can't promise anything, but she will be reprimanded. Have a nice day, ma'am. Allie hangs up the phone and walks up to my coworkers and me. Allie: This absolute Karen just called to get you fired. She claimed you hit her with the card reader. We all started laughing about it. Everyone saw all my interactions, and never did I hit someone with a card reader. Not sure what happened to Karen. My shift ended before she came back. And our second story. You need me to prove my traveling expenses? Not a problem. I work for a company that's involved in record keeping. We're contracted out by many different facilities, so almost every employee has to commute to work and is spread out to several different locations. I started working with the company a little bit over 1 year ago, and when I was hired, I received a flat rate travel stipend per day. I have to go through several toll roads every day and drive upwards of 100 miles per day in my own vehicle, so I was pretty happy to get a stipend. The stipend honestly did not fully meet how much I ended up paying per day on travel expenses, but I didn't mind because I was eager to work and happy with my position. There's a woman in my company that I'll call Jan. Jan has recently started in a position slightly above me and is from a different region than I am. She's been a slight annoyance to me recently because she sends the employees I oversee emails that have nothing to do with our sites whatsoever. Not a big deal. But I received an email from her recently informing me that I need to prove my travel expenses for me to continue to get my stipend. Basically, she and my boss are trying to cut corners by decreasing the amount of money that I get per day from my stipend. Let me remind you that I have had this stipend for over a year now with no problems whatsoever. Moreover, my company knows my home address and each location that I go to every day, so they should already have the requested information and know that they've been cutting me short for over a year. But if they want to know my travel expenses, then I'll provide them with my exact travel expenses. I pulled out all of my recent records regarding my travel. I found out the exact average miles per day I drive, and then converted that number to a dollar amount using my car's average miles per gallon and the current price of gas in my area. I then figured out how much money I pay in tolls per day to the 100th decimal place. This sum alone was already 25% over the current stipend I received for my travels. But I wasn't going to stop there. I then standardized all of my car's upkeep expenses to a per-day value based upon the number of miles I travel solely for my job, e.g. $20 oil change every 5,000 miles when traveling an average of 100 miles a day for work would be 40 cents a day. After compiling all my travel expenses, my total average travel expenses per day summed to be well over 50% of what I was originally getting. After these calculations, I asked them for an increase in my daily traveling expenses. I have yet to get a response back. But it's going to be hard for them to offer any less than what I've just asked for due to my meticulous record keeping. I honestly would have been okay with staying at my current travel stipend as I get paid enough to cover the rest. But since my employers seem to think I'm cheating the system, I'll be happy to ask for a more accurate amount. And our next story. Bad, mean landlords. We had terrible landlords once. They started to struggle to pay their rental property mortgages and started to pressure us to buy the house we were in at the time. We loved the place and were willing to negotiate with them. This was during around the time of the real estate market bubble popping, so everybody was losing their shirt if they were selling, at least in my area. The landlords were out of touch with their asking price and were starting to use nasty techniques to pressure us. Suddenly, they didn't remember our verbal agreement to allow our pets, so we had to take our dog away from the kids and find her a new home. When my husband lost his job and we pulled out of negotiations, they tried to evict us. They said they were losing the house and hoped if they could get in a sale, they could prevent it from happening. If they could kick us out, then they could sell it. In their minds, they didn't realize how long it can take to evict. In December, they returned our rent check to us, unopened, and sent a separate eviction notice regarding our dog. We did our research and found out that we have a week to fix fixable problems. We did that and sent a notice saying that she was gone. We sent in an obvious photocopy, rendering their eviction attempt as moot. Then they tried to send a second eviction notice for non-payment of rent. We told them to bugger off, so they took us to court. My SO attended and did all the work for our lawyer and said that it was an awesome moment when the judge opened the stamped and sealed envelope with our rent check in it. There was also a moment following in which they brought up a copy of the rental agreement that was different from ours, that had some handwritten amendments in it, which we had conveniently broken. My SO had our copy on hand to show that everything they claimed had been forged. We won in court. It kept us from having to move on their timetable. To be petty, they put a for sale sign in the front yard. As per the original rental agreement, it wasn't allowed, so we made them remove it. Hopefully, we put them in a bad position with their lack of ability to advertise, plus we put a lien on the house. We think they're desperate to sell, but they don't want us to get any of the money. We're still out on court costs. Brilliant to see tenants play by the rules and win. So many landlords pull crap like this. And our last story. Entitled mom tries to break into my house. For some context, I am a 20-year-old female and work as a cashier at a nearby grocery store. My neighbor, EM, and her son, Steve, are people I don't see much. However, I see Steve more than EM, as we became friends when I moved in. Steve was 17 years old, and it was his birthday in a few days, and I bought him a book that he had wanted for a long time, and other things and snacks, the usual stuff. It was a cold afternoon, so I got some hot chocolate while watching TV when insert "Here Comes Karen" music is all I think when looking back. I hear loud banging and shrieking coming from my door. When I open it, the following conversation ensues. EM: Hi, finally you opened the door. Me: Sorry, I had a hot chocolate and I had to put it down. What can I help you with, EM? EM: Well, OP, I came to get the presents. Me: I haven't wrapped them yet, sorry. If you give me a minute, I can wrap them. I couldn't even finish that phrase till this shriveled voice said, EM: You don't have to wrap keys to my son's new house. Me: What? I'm confused. EM groans and tries to step inside, but I keep in the way of the door, kind of scared because a grown A woman who doesn't seem like she would hesitate to beat me up was trying to step inside. EM: Are you deaf? Get me the keys to my son's house. Me: I think you have it wrong. I don't have keys to any other houses than this one. EM: I know, because you're poor. I mean, get the keys to this house you agreed to give them. Then she gets her phone and shows an obviously fake screenshot of me saying yes, and at that point I was fed up and just slammed the door in her face, and I was happy with myself when I walked inside hearing loud screaming and banging outside, but after a few minutes it was quiet again. Now, I'm a night owl and I read a lot, losing track of time, so I checked the time on my phone after reading a few chapters of a book I was reading, and it was around midnight, so I decided I'd call it a night when I hear something odd outside. Now, in my house, my bedroom is on the front side of my house towards the right, so I can see pretty much my whole front yard. When I look out, I'm mortified to see a figure at my door, and it looked like they were trying to wedge my door open, and I was hella scared. I had never been in a situation where I needed to call the police, but I wasn't sure if I should. But when I saw they were nearly succeeding in opening my front door, I decided it was kinda needed to call the police, so I grabbed my phone and called the police. They arrived after a few minutes, and when I went downstairs after they got the person, I was incredibly shocked to see EM screaming and kicking about how her son deserved the house, or how it was in fact his house and I had stole it. I had to stop myself from laughing after hearing this. She was put into the cop car. Steve celebrated his birthday with me since EM hadn't returned, and he cracked up hearing what happened. And he was so happy with the original gifts I bought him, and a little update is that EM has in fact returned, but I'm surprised to say hasn't bothered me. And Steve says she's been quiet, so hopefully she learned her lesson. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.